Welcome to the Town Board meeting, Thursday, October 18th. Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right behind the town attorney and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilwoman Samoji? Here. Councilman Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Here.
Supervisor Prodi?
Here.
And Councilman Morris will be absent?
We don't know how to get
Nobody
it.
knows. Okay.
Goes to
Please absent
Annette.
now.
Thank you. Okay, public comment?
Judy?
Hello, Deirdre Houston, Dutchess County Legislator. I just want to bring to your attention a proposed new law that it's going to look at the county level. And it was laid on desk at our last legislature meeting, and we'll be debating it this coming month and possibly enacting the law in November. And the name of it is Bring Your Own Bag Law. And what it is intending to do is have people bring their own bags to the grocery store, reusable bags. So the law will ban plastic bags and charge a 10-cent fee on paper bags. So I'm looking for feedback from residents, constituents who want to weigh in on the issue. I certainly have some feelings about it. I've done some research on reusable bags and cleanliness and how to sanitize them and those. So I do have some concerns about everyone bringing reusable bags to a store, but it will impact all retailers in the county. So I'm looking for feedback. My email is dhouston, Houston, @dutchessny.gov, and I'm just looking for some input and some feedback on the proposed new law that will most likely affect every household in the county.
Deirdre, did they talk about any of the other counties proximate to us that have enacted similar legislation?
Ulster County has enacted a plastic bag ban. It is just for plastic bags. It does not put the 10-cent fee on the paper bag. And I know that, I think Putnam County, don't quote me on it, but I think Putnam County had proposed a 10-cent fee on bags, and when it came time to vote, it ended up being a 5-cent fee. So other counties in the area are doing similar things, but not exactly the same. So that's what we're looking at.
And
So, go ahead.
with that proposed law, the 10 cents goes to whom?
The store retailer would collect the fee and keep the fee.
Presumably to offset the extra cost of paper versus plastic.
Well, the plastic will be eliminated completely.
Right, so it costs more for them too.
Right, and it's basically, it's encouraging people to bring their own
Yeah,
bag.
no, I know,
And
it's an incentive.
Yes.
Right. It'll make you remember.
Correct, 10 cents, yes.
Right.
So again, it's going to be debated, and it could end up being that, it could end up being something less, it could be just a plastic bag ban, so that's why I'm looking for, input.
Our CAC is looking into the Climate Smart Communities action list, and I would think that would be something that we could discuss and look into and make a proposal to the town whether or not that seems like a thing that would help us achieve our other goals of becoming a climate smart community and
Sure.
getting grants towards that goal.
Great, so I just want to make everyone aware of it. And
What would be the effective date?
I believe Mr. Volkman could probably make sure I'm correct, but I believe the effective date would be January 1st.
2019?
No,
2020.
20?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions for me?
Yeah, I just wondered how they were going to keep track of the 10 cents per bag.
The retailer keeps the 10 cents, so it wouldn't be anything the county would not.
charge it.
Right. The county would not get that money back. They're not looking for the money back. It's just a fee to the
Because
retailer.
our local grocery retailer already offers paper or plastic, so they're already doing that. So
Right.
they just wouldn't offer the plastic anymore. You would either have to have your own bags or
Right. it
Or
would be
use
a-
the paper?
Correct. It would be the incentive is to everyone bring their own bags to the store and not use disposable bags.
Oh, excuse me, would, you just brought that up about the local merchants, would they be able to say, because a lot of, like the delis and stuff, put them in little brown bags?
So it's, takeout food is exempt.
Take-out food is exempt, okay.
To
And-
just grocery stores?
And then what if the grocery store itself said, like Fresh Town, just because it's our town?
Right.
Said, forget about it, take the bag. Are they obligated to take the 10 cents, or can they say?
It would be a law.
It would be a law, so they're obligated to take the 10 cents. Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify that for
Right.
myself.
So please feel free to, email me questions or give me some feedback. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly?
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Kelly Kilmer. I am a proud parent of a 12-year-old boy who's in 6th grade in the Weepatuck School District. My son is an avid sports player and is currently playing football outside of the district because they don't offer a program in the district area. And he's excited waiting on the basketball season. This brings me to the reason why I'm here this evening. It has been brought to some of the parents' attention that the town of Amenia is no longer thinking of sponsoring a youth basketball program. I'm standing here tonight asking the board to please reconsider that decision. In this day of technology, when it is so easy for a child to pick up a game controller, iPad, iPhone, or just simply sit and watch TV, it's programs like this and other organized sports that help give our children and aspiring athletes a chance to learn the fundamentals of the desired game, learn sportsmanship, and good teamwork at a very young age. It is a shame if this program through your town, which has helped many students, both boys and girls, forward into their high school careers, if it was terminated. Where does that leave our children? On the couch playing Fortnite? After hearing about this possible cut, I reached out to a few other towns that had youth basketball teams, and with doing my research, one of the directors of a recreation committee who has been doing this for 20+ years was saddened to hear of the possibility of this program being cut. He commented on how well the program was and what a good bunch of kids have come out of this program. The Amenia program not only benefits the kids, but the community we all live in. I feel that if you take this away, parents must look elsewhere outside of their own town, district, and possibly state, that you might be looking at lower numbers for other sports that you might offer currently. Because if you have to go outside the town or the district, you're apt to stay at that site where you currently are. In my emails over the past 2 weeks that I have sent to the town clerk, Recreation Commission chairperson, and the town supervisor, I stated that I would be more than happy to take on the responsibility of all administrative duties, including direct contact with everyone here on the board. Then this could free up the coaches to be just that, coaches. These kids that play on teams like this don't only play a game, but form bonds with each other that might not happen inside the school walls. Last year, the Amenia team not only played basketball very well together and were undefeated, if anyone doesn't know that, for the season, but did other activities that only made their bonds stronger, and those continued after the season ended. The kids were not only the only ones to open up to themselves to new friendships. Us parents did also. The kids actually taught us something. There are many positive aspects of this program, and I think that they are being forgotten. The Amenia team is a welcome team in the Northwest Connecticut League in which we participate in. The past coaches have taught the kids to be well-rounded, respectful, and display good sportsmanship not only on the court but off. I have personally witnessed other team coaches commenting on how well our kids not only play the game but show exceptionally good sportsmanship. This cannot be taught from a TV, iPad, phone, or any type of game. I'm not sure if anyone here remembers or even saw the article that the local paper did at the end of last season on our team and their undefeated season, but you really didn't have to read the article. All you had to do was look at the picture and see their big smiling faces. Although many of those teammates will not be able to return this year due to aging out of the program, the ones that can and have been looking forward to another great season and learning how to be good leaders to the newer generation of boys and girls that are joining are going to be stripped of that opportunity and their smiling face and their big smiles. I appreciate the time that you've given me this evening, but I am appealing to you, the members of the board, to reconsider the decision tonight of no longer sponsoring or supporting the youth of this district or town. Thank you.
Can we ask a question? of you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can you give in a rough number what the expense of that program is and what the fees were, just to refresh our memory?
Absolutely. Last year, the uniforms themselves cost $624. The refs were paid approximately, I'm going to say approximately because I was not the administrator last year,
Yeah.
$825. It's anywhere between $60 to $75 a ref when we have a home game, which we play at Weeputuck School. We are able to use their gymnasium for practices and games, home games. We do have to have a certificate of insurance, which has always been through you, the town of Amenia. The coaches have to take a CPR class in order to be coaches. I'm not sure if the town of Amenia actually covers that expense or if that's up to the coaches, but regardless, that's a small expense, a very small expense.
How many Amenia kids are on the Amenia team?
Last year, we had approximately 12 kids, and they ranged from Millerton and Amenia. I can't answer you exactly how many Amenia
Because it's
kids.
to my knowledge, there was only 2 Amenia children on that team.
I actually would have to look at the picture. I don't remember off the top of my head. Again, I didn't do the administrative work last year. I did, however, last year send an email, or Chip Watt, the recreation chairperson, did ask me if I was willing to help out last year, and I was more than willing to help out. It just never happened.
What were the fees that we collected to offset those costs, or was it free?
Each child paid $75 to play, and we had 12 children on that team.
12 times 70.
That was the problem, that the fees and the equipment purchase was not done according to any regulations, even close to the way it was supposed to be done. The first 2 years when the athletic director ran the program, he went out, collected fees, didn't turn them in until we asked him to turn them in. He overspent the budget line, didn't pay any attention to that. The Recreation Commission was very clear on how equipment needed to be ordered. I know because I was at that meeting.
Wait,
They said that vouchers needed to be signed, and that there were companies that the town of Amenia had a contract with, such as Dick's and BSN and Oriental Trading and a few others, and that was totally ignored. The line was overspent. We got a bill at the end of the year with the total amount that was spent, where the Recreation Commission had no idea what was being spent or what it was being spent for. And the bill included sales tax. Well, we reimbursed the athletic director for the equipment that he purchased without the sales tax, because the town does not pay sales tax. And in subsequent years, after that, parents were told to make out checks to cash. Monies were put in personal account and paid out of, and referees were paid out of the fees collected. None of this is legal. None of this is appropriate. And all 3 persons who handled this program totally ignored any process legally or that was in place. So the town cannot have this happen with taxpayer money or fees collected, because fees collected is a revenue line in our budget. We have an expense line that equipment and referees are supposed to be paid out. Nobody came down and got a check for referees. They just decided to pay them, out of whatever monies were collected, which is illegal. And the town would be called on the carpet for any audit through the comptroller's office. And we just can't have this.
With all due respect, I understand exactly what you're talking about, and I respect that. And I cannot comment on what people in the past have done. What I can say is that I'm here for the kids, for the children who really want to play this game, my son has played for the last 3 years. Myself being a parent who paid last year, I did make the check out to cash. Again, I cannot speak on behalf of those people that you're speaking of. All I can say is that I'm looking forward, I'm looking at the future and what's happening with these children. I do know one of the people that you were speaking of, and that person no longer lives in this area and has nothing to do with this. I am more than happy to follow any procedure. I understand about how line items have to be dealt with, and I understand that everything has to come through the town of Amenia. Checks should be made out to town of Amenia. Everything has to be collected first, and I did actually read up in the March minutes of the Recreation Committee where it said now everything would go through the town clerk, and purchase orders have to be taken care of, written out, and signed off before any equipment or anything could be purchased. The only thing that I can comment on from last year with the referees is that they don't want to wait for a payment. They want to be paid the day of the...
They can be paid that day if somebody
As
came
long
down
as-
and got a check.
Exactly.
And
As long as
nobody
we did a purchase
attempted
order,
to.
brought it to the town clerk and said, we have a game on Saturday, November 10th, whatever the date might be. And we need to pay the referee. Here's the name, here's the amount. This is what we need. I myself, like I said, am willing, I have a very busy life, but I am very much willing to put myself out there responsible to take care of these administrative duties, making sure that the roster is taken care of, making sure that, again, whatever money is collected comes straight to the Amenia town clerk. I want a program for these children so they're not sitting at home, so we're not going someplace else. Like I said, right now I travel to Red Hook 4 days a week so my child can play football. Next year, I have no idea where we're going to go because Weebatuck doesn't offer a football program. But I'm not going to stop my kid from playing. It's something that he likes to do. It's the same with basketball. Matter of fact, couple of the coaches that I talked to who know my son from playing this game have said, bring him over, bring him over. They're willing to take my money. So I would like to keep it here. I would like to keep it in our district, in our community. You, as the town of Amenia, have an amazing baseball team, amazing baseball program. I don't understand why the basketball program can't be just as good. These kids that have worked at this for 3 years have gone to the championship each year. Like I stated before, last year they were undefeated. They lost 1 game, and that was the championship game. I myself was at every game, every practice, registration, tryouts, everything.
Have we heard at all from Millerton whether they'd be interested in co-sponsoring?
Nobody's asked them.
Nobody's reached out? It might be worth
I-
us reaching out.
I can say that probably not.
Oh,
Just because they don't have a baseball program either. They don't have a baseball program. It's run independently.
Kelly,
The village of Millerton, I should say.
Right.
The town neither, because it's all run independently, the baseball program.
have you also spoken to the school now that they have a new athletic director? Is this something that the new athletic director would be interested in bringing back to the school since it used to be done by John Zenz?
I have spoken about that in the past, and they all kind of shook their heads. Something about, and I did look up the law about, something about the kids are not old enough to play at a school level until they're in 7th grade. It doesn't matter whether it's an in order for these kids to play against other teams, it can't be an intramural. And in order to play for them for Weebatuck, it has to be intramural, so they'd have to play against each other. That kind of defeats.
The original program started here
Exactly, yes.
because the whole purpose of the program was to prepare kids for when they did go to high school or junior high and got on a basketball team, they would at least have the skills. They would have learned these skills ahead of time.
And that's exactly why I'm here. I mean, my son plans on, I can only speak for my son and some other parents who are not here tonight, but my kid has got big dreams, big goals. He says he's going to play for the Patriots someday. So he's an aspiring athlete, and I don't want to have to break his heart and say, sorry, you have to sit down, or you can't play this winter, or you can't do. I want to keep him going. But again, I want to keep him in the community that we live in, the community that supports these children. I hate for this program to go. I can't even tell you right now how many kids would be interested in the program because I haven't put any feelers out because I was told that the program was being canceled. I would love to put some feelers out, such as put a sign-up sheet at the school. But I don't want to get the children's hopes up either, and finally finding out that there's 13 or 14 kids that want to play, and then finally saying, sorry, we can't do this now. Because that's kind of breaking their hearts too. So that is why I'm coming to you as a board. I know that there are some hard feelings with some stuff. Again, I was there at every game, every practice. I know some of the stuff that happened last year. It was not fun for parents or the children, but these kids stood by and still played the game and had a smile on their face and there's at least 4 that are going to come back from those 12, because like I said, they do age out. And
Are the 4 from Amenia?
my son is not. There is one child that is. The other 2 I would have to look at. I'm sorry, I don't know. But I know there is one. My son is not, but the other one child is.
Well,
So it seems to me that their fees last year, covered $900 of a roughly $1,500 program from my rough calculations. So we were subsidizing by about $600. But if maybe the out-of-town, we haven't yet implemented an extra charge for out-of-towners because our taxpayers should
No, I
have
understand that.
priority for this kind of program, but if you tacked on a $25, so they were paying $100 for the out-of-towners. I'm just guessing that would help offset. I don't mind subsidizing kids' sports personally, even if they don't actually live right in the town of Amenia, but in their school district. That school district needs to be strong, the kids, their friends. I see the benefit of
I would only have to say that I do
Sports.
know that with some of the children last year, the $75 was a tough fee for some of these kids.
Yeah.
You are looking at all
right. It's
households,
tough.
and
Yeah.
some of
That's
these kids who might be not Amenia residents might have a hard time with whether it be $100 or $85 or however you want to look at that. I have no problem fundraising. I don't
That's
have
not
a
an
problem.
insurmountable goal, 600.
It is not.
No.
It is not. I know boys don't like to stand out there doing bake sales at Freshtown or the new market in Millerton, but there are ways to do fundraising. There are ways that parents can, help out the program too. And some of these parents, again, there's only about 4 kids returning from last year, but hopefully whoever would like to play this year, if we had a team, would be willing to put in as much effort as any of the other parents. I always feel that even though it's your child playing, you have a responsibility also. When my son plays football right now, we have to do concession stands. We have to volunteer every single game that's a home game. We just sold raffle tickets.
And you're willing to not only administer the program in that way, but also maintain rosters, whatever you need to do to fulfill.
And I'm happy to sit with whoever it might be, whether it be Dawn or one of you, to get the process completely down on how you would like it completed and done. The only thing that is concerning right now is we are running out of time.
Exactly, you start in January, right?
Well, no, the Northwest Connecticut League just put out an email. They are starting to get their teams together, and they need to know who's going to be on, or who's going to be in their area for playing, because they start to put together the games. Last year, our first game was December, but we also have to have practice time. We have holidays in between right now. We have people that go on vacation, families that go on vacation. So we're running out of time. Like
Remember,
I said, I'd like to get
crosses
a
over
good
the budget.
idea. Yeah. I'd
Budget
like-
has to be in both the 2018 and the 2019 budget, which was one of the problems that just,
Yes. And that I
unfortunate.
understand. I can totally understand that too. Like
It
I
wouldn't
said,
have been a problem if it was handled appropriately like they were told to run it, which was totally ignored.
Do you know where all the supplies are now for that program?
what supplies are we talking about?
The
Dawn?
basketballs, the pennies, the little cones when you practice?
The only
The running.
time.
The little cones.
Now, mind you, I was under, and I hate to say names, but I was under the John Zen's era too. Every time we went, everything was in the locked cabinet at the Weebatuck School. In where the gymnasium is, they have those locked closets. The balls are in there. I was always assuming that we were using Weebatuck balls. The pennies that said Weebatuck on them, we were assuming that those were Weebatucks.
We had purchased, just so the board knows, because not all the board members were here during that regime, like we had purchased the hoops that go on, like our basketball hoops here, because when I did start here, to make them so they're little, for the little guys to play. We had pennies, we had basketballs, we had cones.
Were those for the instructional?
It was all under basketball because we have a youth basketball program. So I know like when Zach and Curly, they were little, it was like and as they all grew, when the program outgrew this space is when we went to Weebatuck and we said, can we use your space in the EBIS because our gym is just too small for all of these kids. And it was hard during the transition of one group going to the next because you're just trying to keep it going. And then when it moved over there, my kids aged out and I lost the track of where all the items went.
I was mostly involved with the 5th and 6th grade travel team, only because I have no other children that are younger. I have all older kids. Mine are all in college. I do know that there was some instructional basketball last year for the younger kids, which would have ranged from like 1st grade up to the 4th graders who didn't make the team, because we did allow some of the 4th graders last year. I shouldn't say they allowed some of the 4th graders last year to try out. The kids that didn't make the team were then brought down to the instructional side to learn more. There was another person who is doing that, and they were always at the elementary school. So it's a possibility that some of that stuff might be at the elementary school. We never used pennies last year. We didn't use them the year before. Our uniforms always said Town of Amenia. Actually, some of the kids from last year, my son included, did not get a new uniform. We paid the same price, we paid the same amount of money, but we didn't get a new uniform because it was the same company that they used the year before. He took the same number, he has the same name, so there was no reason for him to get a new uniform.
Okay.
I think we're going to have to really take a look at this.
Well, I appreciate you taking a look at it. I'm hoping that that we can get your support and that the program can continue. I again am saying we're running out of a little bit of time because we do need to get some kind of idea if we're going to have kids
Well,
that
it
are.
sounds you only have 4 people anyway. How many people for a team?
Well, we have to put a sign-up sheet over at the Weebatuck School. We would have to get permission from the principal, which I am pretty sure that Mr. Lynch would not have any issues with us putting a sign-up sheet to see how many kids would be interested. And then we would bring them in to do, kind of like see what level they're on. We understand that we are going to start off with a brand-new team pretty much this year because
Okay,
all of our kids have aged out.
if you're going to do the administrative, who would be the coach?
We do have 2 people, one which was willing to be a coach who's in Amenia, who actually I believe was a coach for some of Amenia baseball. And the other person that would be returning is a coach that's been coaching for 5 years from the program, and had nothing to do with any of the administrative stuff that you were speaking of. So those 2 people have been very gracious to say that they would volunteer their time.
Well, the problems that we had were from the coaches. So that's why I think the board needs to, I need to get the board some more facts and we need to discuss it. We're having 2 budget meetings next week.
And just a tidbit, and this is just my opinion and my own, from seeing what I saw last year. There was one coach I will not throw anybody under the bus. I just think that it was a miscommunications, some misunderstandings, and it just didn't work out the right way. I can't comment on why people do what they do. I can only say moving forward, if you are looking for a certain process, which I completely understand the process and regarding making sure it's followed to the T for the law, that's not a problem. We're willing to work with you and willing to work to make sure that this program is on the right track.
Well, we'll discuss this and we'll let you know.
Okay. You have my information, Dawn? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you again.
Is there any other public comment?
Sharon, did you have any? Oh, nope.
Supervisors report? No, Sharon? Didn't want to cut her off. Wassaic Trail to the Train update. I have a conference call with DOT Local Projects Unit on Tuesday, October 23rd, 2018, to go over the right-of-way information. We're still waiting for notification from the DOT Local Project Unit to proceed with construction activities. Town of Amenia Highway Garage Land Update. Resolution for the transfer and conveyance of the highway garage land from DEC was sent to legal counsel at the OGS, who is working on drawing up the deed so a closing date can be scheduled. Amenia Town Hall upgrades. Contractor has ordered new windows and ADA upgrade materials so work can begin. Bellinger Engineering bids for electrical contractor to install generator and do electrical upgrade, going out soon. Water laws rate increases and additional fees effective 1/1/2019 will be introduced in a public hearing date set. Noise law update, introduction to local law and public hearing resolution for the noise law will be presented on November 15, 2018. Wassaic Park, the Greenway grant plan for Wassaic Park upgrade will be submitted on October 19, 2018. Town clerk report.
Good evening. The minutes of 10:04 were circulated to the board prior to the meeting. Has everybody had the opportunity to review?
Yes. Make a motion to accept the minutes for September 6th as presented.
I second it. I'm talking about 10:04.
What?
10:04.
Where's 10-4?
Oh, 10:04 was emailed out.
Oh, sorry. Let me make sure I reviewed those.
So the ones that probably went through the copy machine were the ones that we put on the website. Did you review what I emailed you out?
I'm
I
going to
know
make sure.
Michelle
I'm
and I
checking now.
Talked earlier. There was no Jim at that meeting, so that's why I'm like, everybody here was here.
This is September 6th. We haven't done
The
that.
hard copy ones are, that looks like that's what was put through the cycle, but no, the ones that were emailed before your vouchers on Monday.
I'm just making sure I reviewed them, Dawn. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
Make an honest answer, make an honest vote. If you didn't, we can come back. I know you did.
All right, I can't find the email, so I can't see if I opened and reviewed it, but
Why don't we just wait
We'll
till
Or
the
we just wait
next
till the next
meeting?
meeting.
That's fine.
They're there.
Yeah.
Also, I'm presenting to you, as we did a reminder at the end of the last meeting, this is a fun month for all of our children and community. It's Halloween time.
Yes.
So annually, the board makes a motion to give us a curfew for those fun times.
Okay.
Are you looking to continue with that this year?
It's at 9:30, are we?
It's 8 o'clock.
Are you doing 9:30?
No, we're doing 8
Oh, my
o'clock.
kids. 8 o'clock.
I'll make a motion that
8 o'clock.
we
Until the 8
install
PM.
a curfew for Halloween night of 8 PM.
Doyle,
I second.
Shell. Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi.
Yes.
Also, I circulated earlier this week the vouchers and the abstract that I'm presenting for the October 15th, consisting of 7 pages that have been audited and reviewed. I present to you for General Fund A, $69,940.15. Highway Fund, $41,969.76. Amenia Lighting, $1,490.35. Wassaic Lighting, $529.86. Amenia Water, $11,908.01. Capital Generator, $5,100, for a total of $130,000, $938.13. 130.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the payment of the vouchers.
I second.
Councilwoman Simoji.
Yes.
Councilman Morris is absent. Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle.
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi.
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
am I losing my banana?
Are you?
Maybe. The minutes that you emailed on Monday are these.
Or 6-4, or the 6?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll just do 10-4 next time.
Okay. Sorry.
I've got the 10-4 by email.
The one,
But if you haven't read them, why don't we just?
no, I have read them, is the thing, is that it's this.
Oh, but it says September 6th, so you said it was the 10-4-2018, but
Oh,
when you open
on the
it,
top it
Yeah,
says
it's
it.
but maybe
these.
you think, oh, October 4th down below. See your
Oh, the
footer.
letter, the header is
footer.
incorrect. Let's
Okay.
change the header
So
to October.
I will resume my motion to approve the minutes as
Oh,
presented with
interesting.
one
See,
edit.
this says October, but the
Yeah,
top,
the
you
header.
just didn't
The
change
header
that.
was probably from this, there you go, look at
Okay.
that.
So it was
Not
go back.
crazy.
We were testing you.
I know. Well, I'm glad that he read them. Okay, so go back to 10-4, the correction of the header.
Yes, with the correction of the header,
Damien,
I
alright.
make a motion to approve the minutes as presented with the edit to the header.
So, Michelle, read the header next time.
And the first line, it says Thursday.
We gotta just change the top, yeah. 'cause that's
2018.
probably the blanket.
your-
It looked right to me.
Well, the content, is the content correct?
That's what I was reading. Yeah, that's what I read.
You guys. Okay, so we have some fun announcements happening in town.
She seconded the motion, sorry.
Yep.
No, we need to.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Some fun activities going on here this weekend in town. The library is holding their bake sale from 10 until 2. Come support your local library. This weekend, Amenia Fire Company is holding their monthly pancake breakfast.
Oh,
And then comes into our fun events. December, save that date, mark your calendar. Santa's coming to town. Santa will be here at the town hall on December 2nd. And if you didn't get enough of Santa here at the town hall, you can visit and watch him on Friday, December 6th. The Amenia Fire Company is holding their 7th annual Parade of Lights. Decorate your tractors, your floats, your movable equipment, and come on down. And we'll be going right around the village and ending at the firehouse where you can enjoy some baked goods and another visit with Santa. So you can ask for all those special gifts this year if you've been a good boy or girl.
so the pancake breakfast is this Sunday?
This
Yes.
Sunday,
This.
come on down, Michelle.
Yes, of course, I
We'll
love
have
the
a table
blueberry
for you.
pancakes.
Yes,
I love the blueberry.
nice big blueberry pancake. Great, we'll have them ready, nice and hot for you.
Oh, also, isn't there a stuff a bus day or something?
That's this Saturday, Stuff a Bus, lower parking lot. We would talk.
And what are you
We'll be-
stuffing it with?
You can bring some food or items that you would like to donate. That way they can make it down to the Carolinas to help those that are in need.
So it could be food, or it can be like baby
Sheets,
food, or
blankets, yes.
blankets, or something like that. Okay,
Diapers, clothing,
clothing like that. Okay.
When is that?
this
This
Saturday.
Saturday.
Goodness, got a lot of things
Got a
going
lot.
on.
Yeah,
Saturday
everything's
going
on
on.
Saturday. And Victoria's baking, I'm going to tell you, a cherry pie, but it's mine.
For the library bake sale.
Is this Saturday?
This Saturday, library bake sale.
Did
First
10 to
announcement.
2.
Come
So
support them.
I guess she's got first dibs
I
on
got
my cherry
first
pie I'm
dibs
making.
on the cherry pie, so the rest
If they're
of
at 10 or you won't get it. That'll conclude my report for this evening. 10.
Highway Department?
I hope it's as fun as the town clerk report, Meg.
Always.
I have apple pie.
Ooh, see?
Did everybody receive my email I sent out yesterday about the truck?
Yes.
Okay. As we know, it's been a problem since day one. We've had paint issues, heat issues, four-wheel drive issues. Last year, I think around March, the engine blew in it. Luckily, when you purchased the truck, we had an extended warranty. I just feel it's not reliable anymore. So I think if we trade it in right now, we'd probably get the best price versus waiting any longer. So I'm asking board's permission to put out for a new truck and a trade in the 2011. It is sitting right up in Millerton right now with the check engine light on again.
And what type of truck?
Probably another Ford F-350.
An F-350?
Same thing. I have,
This was the same truck that like oil was getting into
same
the...
thing. That was
same
last year when the engine blew.
And if the warranty is expiring in January, isn't it?
January.
Yeah.
So, yeah, forgot that part. Yeah, so as of January, there is no more warranty. I have some money that I can put towards it this year. I have $23,639 FEMA money from Stella last year. And then I'm estimating maybe 15 to 20,000 maybe or more for a trade,
Which you have in your capital fund.
and whatever leftover would be from the capital project, or, yeah, capital fund.
So you need authorization from us for you to purchase
Board's
a
permission.
new Ford
Put it up.
F-350? Can I make that motion
To go out to bid.
to go out to bid?
Second.
Okay. Thank you. And next I have.
We need to
Don-
finish voting.
Councilwoman
Oh,
Smoji?
sorry.
Yes. That's all right. Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Are trucks like that generally available through the state bidding? Yeah?
Yep. I've checked with the state bid, and I've checked with a couple Ford dealers around town. Seem to be getting a little better prices with the local dealers versus the state bid. Because we're probably gonna get a plow with it, and accessories seem to be cheaper going off the state bid.
The problem is if you buy it off the state bid, you can pick the Ford F-350. If you're going to go to a true bid, unless you've adopted a standardization resolution that requires all trucks to be Fords, you're going to have to spec that out and then have bids come in that meet those specs, which could be a Ford, it could be a Chevy. So a lot of times the state bid is the more practical way to go if you want to, continue to have a Ford product, So,
But she wants to trade in her existing one.
All right, one of the state bid guys told me he didn't even want to trade in.
Oh.
well,
So what's the best way?
there's two things you can do. Number one, you can go out to bid with a trade-in, or you could sell the truck separately or at an auction, or solicit bids for that. And it's worked well in other towns, mostly for the larger trucks, as opposed to the old pickup trucks, when we go send it to Auctions International or something like that, or Absolute Auctions.
Like Absolute?
Right. But I don't know what kind of value you think, what do you think the trade-in would be on that truck?
I'm guessing around 20, maybe more,
Okay, so that's still a reasonable value.
15 on
but-
a low.
I mean, you can put out a bid and try to get a trade-in, and that way your local vendors will bid
Right.
on that, but the bid would have to be more generic than just a,
A couple years ago, he put our 550, the 1 ton,
yeah,
he got best price bids through the local dealers versus the state bid.
okay.
That works.
So, I mean, I can get prices both ways and we'll
Right.
take the best price.
Sure.
But Well, Scott, you're saying you just you can't go out looking for bids only for Fords. You have to,
If you did a true competitive bid, unless you've adopted a standardization resolution, which you usually don't do for your day-to-day trucks, you do that for your fleet, for your snow plowing trucks, that kind of stuff. They all should be international harvesters, or I don't know what kind of trucks you have out here, but, you know, it would be more of a generic bid for a truck that, you know, can haul this much, or weighs this much, or can plow, you know, you have to be more generic. Or you can bid it out for, with certain specs or equivalent, which would allow someone, you know, you can effectively copy the Ford F-350 specs or equivalent, which will allow a Chevy equivalent or some other truck equivalent that could meet those specs. But you couldn't limit it to just the Ford in that bid. And if the Chevy came back at a lower bid, you'd be obligated, well, if you were going to buy the truck, you'd have to buy the lowest bid at that point in time.
Well, a little more trying to stay with Ford. We have brand-new tires that would fit right onto this. We got brand-new winter tires, summer tires. New Chevy than the
So
tires.
put that in the specs, that you need, right? You need a truck that would fit these standard, you know, Ford tire specs. I'm sorry,
Well,
that's what you need, because
Is
you
everything you have
busted.
Ford?
What's that?
Is everything Ford in the highway department, or just the smaller trucks?
Ford, Dodge, small trucks.
Yeah. So you've already got a mixture of smaller vehicles in the department, you know? I don't know if a standardization resolution would serve any purpose for the smaller trucks at this point in time. You can always bid it and see what comes back. I mean, when are you looking for, a 2019 truck?
18, 19. Right now, they're,
I think you're
18.
looking, she's looking at prices for both to see, get the best deal.
yeah, they're knocking off, around here, the locals were almost 13,000. It's before the trade.
So this is stuff they still have in stock. You can buy it pretty much and get quick delivery on it?
Yep.
Well, I would put out kind of a, if you can't find an state bid with someone willing to take a trade-in, I would put out kind of a generic bid and see what comes back. If it comes back with something you don't want, we'll have to revisit that. But it's only a 5-day notice requirement for the bid on a purchase like that. So, you know, you could get it done relatively quickly. If it doesn't work out, we still have time.
Right.
You need it before the winter, really?
Yes.
All right, so winter's coming quick, but we still have, you know, a couple meetings that we can still manage to do that. So,
I'm hoping to put it in the newspaper tomorrow, and then I'll work on the bids. I mean, I have specs that I'm looking for in the truck, so,
okay,
you know.
let's put it out
And I
there
think
see
she
what we
tried one place on state bid that said, I don't
Freedom Ford,
want to do it anymore.
and they were on it, yeah.
can do on it.
I'm not doing that anymore. It's like, okay.
Onward.
Okay. And next, we have 1989 International 10-wheeler, and which I would like to get board permission to put that out for a bid, to get rid of it. We haven't used it in, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. It won't pass inspection. And the 2000 International, which we just replaced, won't really pass inspection anymore. Don't really plan on using it anymore, so I'd like to do the same thing with that.
To get another one?
Nope, we
Or-
just
or just
replaced
to get-
that. That's the one we just replaced. They're having trouble getting that inspected too. So,
So what are you trying to do?
get permission to,
Get rid of one?
both of them.
To get rid of both of them? What, through auction or?
We should try doing it through the paper too. To get bids on it.
So, okay, so people would be bidding on it to buy it, is that correct?
All right.
And which one is this?
The 1989 International. The 2000 International 6-wheeler. 89 is a 10-wheeler.
So we're talking the 1989 International six-wheeler, and there's another one?
1989 International 10-wheeler.
Oh, 10-wheel. There's a six-wheeler and a 10-wheeler?
2000 International 6-wheeler
Oh, okay.
that we just replaced.
So are you looking to replace 3 trucks or to just dispose of
Dispose
2
of-
trucks?
Dispose, get rid of, see what,
So we need to dispose of those 2 trucks, is that correct?
right, we put out a bid, see how much money we can get for them, or the best
What would,
price.
what would be the best way to handle that?
You could try that. Sometimes, taking a one-shot ad out in the local paper doesn't really generate the type of interest in a 10-wheel dump truck that you might want. You can certainly try it and have a deadline for sealed bids to come back, and if you don't get what you like, you can go a different route. And you could potentially assign that to the county for when they do their surplus auction. I don't know what the timing of that is right now. There are favorable deals through some of these auction houses that we've used before in other towns. And if you got 2 or 3 trucks, it may be worthwhile to look at that, because there's no real expense to the town. The premium usually is paid by the buyer, the auction premium, and you typically have the right to reject it, even at the close of the bid cycle. For instance, in Pleasant Valley, we've exclusively gone that route in the past few years.
Gone to auction?
Gone to auction with what the superintendent feels is great success. I don't really know, I didn't compare the values, but he's been very happy with the prices he's got through that route. And it's a much more broader exposure, and oftentimes, your buyers are not local, they're
Yeah, they come from all
Right,
over,
from
because
all
we
over.
used to have a
Yeah.
huge auction here in town
yeah.
once a year, and people would come from all
Yeah,
over
I
the
mean-
place.
But you
That
are,
was close where we could, drive them over there, but if the truck's not safe, how do I get it there?
it's sold from your site. It stays at your
Sold from the
highway.
site,
It
okay.
stays at your garage. It's done online. It's an online auction. But there's nothing to prohibit you from soliciting bids in the traditional fashion and taking an ad out and seeing what happens. If they're just sitting there taking up space and they're not in the way, then, maybe you could try that first, and then if you're not happy with the results, then I can talk to you about, our experience in Pleasant Valley and hook you up. You can talk to Butch Garner and maybe look at the auction route he's taken and see if that might work for you.
Okay.
But if you want to try and see if you can get some local interest, and maybe a local contractor happens to be looking for a 10-wheel dump truck, you just never know.
So you just want authorization to start advertising for these?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we authorize the advertisement of 2 trucks, the 89 International 6-wheeler and the 89 10-wheeler.
2000.
It's the
89
2000,
International 10-wheeler and a 2000 International 6-wheeler.
Right.
second?
Councilwoman Simochi?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Are there any other committee reports?
We have a CAC report. We met last night, and we talked about the NYSEG LED light replacement that was completed here at Town Hall, and looks like, we're just compiling all of the things that would help us get towards our Climate Smart Communities action list. So we have to check off these items that would help us qualify for grants for more energy efficiency here at Town Hall. So that was part of it. We started on a mission statement, which is the first thing that we really have to do as the CAC, and we're going to follow up on that at our next meeting in November. We have November 14th is the secret training that is free for town officials, and as far as I know, it's open to any appointed bodies led by Dave Everett. And so that's at 7 p.m. in the planning board room upstairs. October 25th is our 10 Mile River Watershed Collaborative meeting from 6 to 7:30 in Dover Plains, and we'll be attending that. We talked about Sharon Kroger's effort. She attended a meeting at the CAC, and she gave an update about the state of agriculture in Amenia and how we're one of the most active farming-wise in Dutchess County. We're like second to town of Washington. So she gave us lots of statistics and facts that she had brought to our attention, and that's being compiled. They would like me to report back regarding the state of the RFP for Taconic DDSO, the parcel that's they have sent out requests for proposals, and I didn't feel like I had all the information about why they're rebidding. I understand that they only got a couple of proposals, and some people wanted to add to that application process, right?
Actually, the real estate people in charge of the RFP called me because I'm on the local advisory committee for the Wausau DDSO. And the way it was explained to me is that they had 2 proposals, but there were 2 other developers who said they really needed more time to develop the proposals. So what they decided to do is to allow the 2 that had already submitted their proposals to pull them back and see what they wanted to do to enhance them, and give the other 2 developers time to actually put proposals in. So the date was changed to, I believe it's the middle of December.
Okay. Is the new deadline?
It's a new deadline.
And does the town of Amenia have play any role in this? It sounds like they're keeping you apprised of what's going on, but as far as the selection process, I'm sure they'll consult our comprehensive plan and our zoning and all of that.
Well, they've been, from the beginning when I was meeting with them, I put them in touch with Dave Everett.
Okay.
And they also know that our comprehensive plan and zoning is on our website, so they've taken advantage of that. And any questions that they've had, they've actually contacted Dave Everett, and he's answered any questions that they had. So he's like the point person in this to answer any questions about what would be allowed under our zoning.
So it's just technical questions that they are being provided with from the town of Amenia, but we won't have any role per se in the selection. It's strictly the town, the state.
It's strictly the
making a
state,
decision. Okay.
yes.
We'll report back to them. Thank you. That's all I have.
Are there any other committee reports?
Let me I'll do my stuff now, then we don't have to do it later. Everyone, I wanted to thank everybody for the wonderful season we had with the seniors, our trips and stuff. Our last 2 were to Villa Roma, where we saw Jimmy Sturgis, and we had a great time. This week we went to Aqua Turf. It's a beautiful place, and again we had a great time. So looking forward to next year, so we'll do that. Also here in the town hall, we had the Golden Age singers come, and we had about 10 people show up to see it, which was great. The singers are 20 in the group, and they loved our auditorium. They said they sing in many places, but this is the first place they sang in a town hall that had such a great auditorium, and the acoustics are fantastic in there. And they would like to come back in the spring, and I hope they will. Okay, there's a list. Dutchess County ASPCA update. They're looking to come here to the town of Amenia to do a rabies clinic in the spring sometime. We're on their list now. They're composing their list of which towns they're going to go to and how they're going to do it. And we're on their list. I don't know the date yet. I just know that we're going on the list. The senior Christmas party, the flyers are going out. This year, it's to the Pond Restaurant, as always, and it's $42 a person plus $2 a cash tip for the bus driver. You contact me, you write your checks to the town of Amenia. And it's a buffet, so you're going to have appetizers. I'm not leading the whole menu, please, no. Appetizers and soup and salad, and a choice of prime rib, chicken marsala, flounder francese. It's a wonderful time, and we have a really great time. It's a cash bar, so if you want to go and have a beer, you buy a beer. Okay, so and seniors, that's coming to you in the mail. Where's the location? Oh, the pond is in Ancramdale, New York. Thank you for asking me that, because people always say, where is it? And I always forget to say. It's in Ancramdale, New York. It's just right up the road from us here. And we enjoy that very much. There's going to be, I know so many things, an AARP Safe Driver course on Saturday, November 3rd. I'll do Dawn Marie. And and the Tally Ho Estates is going to be is sponsoring it. In other words, they're the host. And this will be going up on the TV and stuff. And you can contact me. You can call me at my number, 845-877-9430. It's $20 for AARP members, $25 for non-members, and it's from 9 a.m. to 4:30. Please be on time. I'm not doing the class. There's a new instructor, Steve, and he's taken over for me. I used to do the classes, but he's taken over my spot. So that's the AARP. And just to go into, this is the last, I promise, this is the last.
Well, that's okay. That's what we're here for.
I feel like the commercial page, you know? Trick-or-treating. Tally Ho Estates always welcomes trick-or-treaters, and they want you to know you're all welcome. And it's, of course, on Halloween, from 4 to 7 p.m. Now, you have to park your car, and you walk the park. And to be safe, you should have a flashlight with you, because at 7 o'clock, believe me, the lights go out. Go to the houses with the lamppost lights on and get your candies and stuff. There's no vehicles on the roadways, and all children must have a chaperone, and we go up to, we say whatever, to 6th grade or something like that is what we say. But there's no admission after 7 p.m. because the park is dark, and the people, believe me, we have a lot of children come to our park, which we love them. We love you all. I have over 100 come to my, I shouldn't say that. I'll tell you somebody else's address. But, but it's great, good fun. I'll go to Victoria's house, 100 of them. And, but it's great, good fun. And everybody is welcome. But we just ask you to be safe, follow the rules, park your car, walk, carry a flashlight, please. And that's all, folks. I've done everything for you. Thank you.
Okay, resolution to adopt new anti-discrimination and harassment, including sexual harassment in the workplace policy. Resolution number? Go ahead.
My pen has stopped working. Anybody have an extra
Here,
pen?
I'll just pass it right down. I have a.
All good. Thank you. Sorry.
That's okay, we're good.
You can write down 67. Make sure the pen
67.
works. Make sure you're good.
All good.
Amending Section 903 of the Town of Amenia Employee Handbook. Whereas Section 903 of the Town of Amenia Employee Handbook sets forth the town's policy with respect to sexual harassment as adopted on February 14, 2013. Whereas the Town of Amenia is committed to maintaining a workplace free from sexual harassment, which is a form of workplace discrimination. Whereas state and federal law requires all employees to work in a manner that prevents sexual harassment in the workplace. Whereas the state of New York recently enacted labor law section 201-G, which requires all employers to adopt the state's model sexual harassment policy or a more protective one and provide written copies to all its employees. Whereas the town board has reviewed the New York State model sexual harassment policy and has determined that it is appropriate to adopt it for the town of Amenia as required by statute. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby repeals section 903 of the town of Amenia employee handbook as adopted on February 14, 2013, and be it further resolved that the town board hereby adopts a new section 903 of the town of Amenia employee handbook, being the town of Amenia anti-discrimination and harassment, including sexual harassment in the workplace policy, a copy of which is annexed hereto, and be it further resolved that the town board hereby adopts a complaint form for reporting discrimination and harassment, including sexual harassment, a copy of which is annexed hereto, and be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately, and be it further resolved a copy of this policy shall be added to and included in the town of Amenia employee handbook adopted February 14, 2013, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution and policy shall be distributed to all town employees and elected officials, together with a complaint form for reporting discrimination and harassment, including sexual harassment, and each town employee and elected official shall sign a form acknowledging that they have received and reviewed a copy of said policy. I make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Purdy?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 68. A resolution authorizing withdrawal from Dutchess County Workers' Compensation Plan and to accept the new Workers' Compensation Plan proposal effective 1/1/2019. Authorizing withdrawal from Dutchess County Self-Insured and Workers' Compensation Plan. Whereas the town of Amenia is a party to a participation agreement between the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan and the town of Amenia and other municipal entities located within Dutchess County. Whereas the town of Amenia desires to withdraw from the plan. Whereas in order to withdraw from the plan, notice must be given to the plan manager of the town's intent to withdraw from the plan by a certified copy of a resolution of the town board evidencing its intent to withdraw, whereas the town board understands that the town may still owe a proportionate share of any fund balance as determined by an actuary, which would be due and payable within 90 days after withdrawal from the plan. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Amenia hereby declares its intent to withdraw from the plan effective 12:01 a.m. January 1st, 2019, and be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed to submit a certified copy of this town board resolution to the plan manager, the Dutchess County Director of Risk Management, immediately. Can I make that motion?
Second. Discussion. Do you want to just explain why we are leaving the county plan, the
Yeah.
rate hike?
The town became part of the county plan in 2013. The rate at that time was a little over $10,000, and the rate has stayed that amount until this year. Per the participation agreement, the county was supposed to send the town an opt-out letter and give us a claim review, letting us know what the new rates would be timely before July 1st. That did not happen. I just got the rate today that they're proposing, and it's going from $10,000 to $39,633. So I had Byron Barnes, our insurance broker, check with other companies to see so we could get the least expensive rate for workers' compensation. And the least expensive rate was with PERMA, which was $30,000, 825. And the reason there was such a large increase, some besides just towns in this consortium, Workers' Compensation Consortium, it also included Dutchess County Community College, the City of Beacon, the City of Poughkeepsie, and it turned out that where the town of Amenia's compensation loss claims were only in the 5 years were $2,911. Three of those entities, their workers' compensation claims were 1.7 million. So, which meant that everyone else has to increase what they're paying into the pool. So it seemed to us that it was in the best interest of the town to just opt out of this and go with the prior workers' compensation company that we were with in PERMA, and not have to worry about the compensation claims of all these other towns and college and cities.
Yeah,
So that's why we're doing this, to save some money.
It was like a 400% increase, and where we've ended up is now with a 300% increase, but it's still a savings of $10,000. Deirdre, if I would ask you to relay anything back to the county legislatures, maybe for them to consider a more equitable, the idea is good to sort of share the risk and contributions to policies, but as Victoria stated, we can't shoulder the load for high claims, just across the board.
I assure you that I have worked really hard on this.
You should go
You
to
have to go
the
to the podium.
microphone because
Sorry.
it's the only way they'll hear it.
Just to assure you, I hear your concern. I have many concerns, and I have reached out to risk management. I've asked for a year-to-year comparison from last year to this year, because not only is town of Amenia impacted, incredibly 400%, town of Washington is in the same boat, as well as the village of Millbrook. So 3 of the 4 areas that I represent are in the same boat. So I've worked hard on this. I've tried to get some movement, and the county executive's office has not given the movement to this point, but I hear your frustration, and clearly I did let the legislators know that the opt-out, that while even if the increase was imminent, the way it was done with the opt-out letter coming late and the rate increase letter coming late, I let them know my frustration and that I felt it was unacceptable to the towns, especially in their budget time.
Thanks. I called one insurance provider that was sponsored or affiliated with the Association of Towns, and before I could even say what town I was from, he was like, "Let me guess, you're in Dutchess County." I've had a million.
They've been hearing, yeah. So what was your recommendation?
My recommendation is that to the fellow legislators was that we find some money to give the town some relief on this for this budget year. I know that town of Amenia, I see on you have a resolution to introduce the local law to override the tax cap, and town of Washington's in the same boat basically over the workman's comp issue. So I heard what the county's answer was to the towns, which obviously I've discussed with Victoria, and they were going to give 5 years for this year's difference. But then what happens next year is that you have the increase, plus you have the 25% to add to your budget. So what you defray this year in cost, you end up getting it compounds next year. So while they had a solution, their solution was not viable. And I don't know any town or village that has agreed to the solution, because it really wasn't a solution.
No.
And we have no idea, I mean, considering the 2 cities in Dutchess Community College, what the claims will be for next year, and there may be another increase next year in addition to whatever they wanted us to pay. So it just seemed like in the best interest of the town to just get out of it and go with a, with a regular workers' compensation carrier, where this isn't something we're going to have to worry about every year.
Especially with your, your $2,900 over the last 5 years in claims, so obviously you're a lower risk. So it seems that it would be prudent for you to have your own policy.
Which is-
Just so you know, Barnes Agency did obtain a total of 3 quotes in addition to the county quote. So PERMA happened to be the lowest. There was one that was higher.
State Insurance
State
Fund was
Insurance
50,
Fund
yeah, that was
substantially higher.
$53,000.
And then the
Comp
other one was
Alliance
Comp
was
Alliance.
$36,000.
Oh, my gosh,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Okay, thank you.
And just as a practical matter, it appeared initially that the county was not going to let anyone out because the deadline had been missed. But the argument was no one could have met the deadline because we didn't get the notice until after the deadline had passed. So
But we never got an opt-out letter.
some towns never even got the opt-out letter. So we fell into that category of not even getting the opt-out letter. So they have consented to allowing some towns out, including the town of Amenia.
Great.
But we didn't get our final rate until yesterday or
Today.
Yesterday or today, right?
Yeah, it's
So,
the other day. And we were supposed to get it before. Of course, they say, like, next year, we're going to do it in April. And, well, I don't care what you do next year.
So in order to opt out
Do
by
whatever you want.
July 1st, they were supposed to give you the rates, I think 30 days prior to that. So like around
Yes.
June 1st. So and here we are just getting it in the middle of October.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Resolution 69,
Yes.
authorizing 2019 workers' compensation policy. Whereas due to rising costs of participation in the Dutchess County Self-Insured Workers' Compensation Plan, the town supervisor directed the town's designated insurance agent to solicit quotations for workers' compensation coverage commencing January 1st, 2019. Whereas in addition to the projected cost for the 2019 workers' compensation plan, Barnes Insurance Agency, the town's designated agent, obtained 3 additional quotations for the requisite workers' compensation coverage. Whereas a designated insurance agent has recommended that the town obtain coverage through the Public Employer Risk Management Association, or PERMA. Whereas PERMA is the largest self-insurance pool for public entities in New York State, and one of the largest in the country, being a nonprofit association created by local officials and governed by local officials, consisting of over 530 municipal entities. Whereas the total estimated contribution in New York State assessment for coverage for 2019 amounts to $30,825, which is, in fact, the lowest of the 4 options considered by the town's designated agent. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board in the town of Amenia hereby authorizes and directs the town supervisor to contract through the town's designated insurance agent, Barnes Insurance Agency, for coverage through the Public Employee Risk Management Association, incorporated in accordance with their quote dated October 9, 2018, and to take any and all steps to ensure that the coverage is in place effective January 1st, 2019. Is there a motion?
I make the motion. Authorizing the 2019 workers' compensation policy.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yes.
Just this, any and all steps necessary? I mean, if the amount of the policy changes, we would talk about that before we went forward with it, right?
Well, this is the amount for 2019. It's
And-
not going to change.
Well, I mean, I understand, but the last sentence of this resolution says that we are authorizing you to take any and all steps necessary to ensure the coverage is in place.
Yeah, that means for me to make out the application.
Correct. And to do whatever you need to do with the agent to bind that coverage in time.
Right.
So
Okay.
the fee is set by this resolution and can't exceed that.
Great, that's all I was asking.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
You want to take a break?
Yeah, nice.
Oh, you want to read? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, resolution to schedule public hearing approval of new water rates and fees effective 1/1/2019.
70?
Yes.
Proposed water rates for Town of Amenia Water District Number 1. This is the one I'm reading, right? Whereas the Town Board of the Town of Amenia is considering a local law establishing water use regulations for the Town of Amenia, including the existing Amenia Water District Number 1. And whereas the water plant operator has recommended that the Town Board, on behalf of the Water District, consider increasing certain fees which have not increased in many years for the Water District. And whereas the Town Board has a public hearing scheduled for the proposed water use law on November 1st, 2018. Whereas the Town Board is desirous of seeking the public's input on the proposed water rates, which would be incorporated into the 2019 budget and take effect on January 1st, 2019. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby schedules a public hearing to consider the proposed usage charges, payments, penalties, fees, turn-off and turn-on fees for the Amenia Water District Number 1 to be held on November 1st, 2018 at 7 p.m. at Amenia Town Hall, located at 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York. And be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed and authorized to post and publish the notice of the public hearing. I make that motion.
Second. Supervisor Purdy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Resolution for renewal PPV LLC site management plan for the Old Amenia landfill. We have to approve the continuation of the contract, but the contract, any of the fees in the contract are actually paid by the town of Sharon.
Not Sharon.
By the town.
She didn't hear you.
Approving contract for renewal of professional engineering services for operations, maintenance, and monitoring of the Old Amenia landfill, and authorizing supervisor to execute contract. Meeting the town board of the town of Amenia held at Amenia Town Hall on the 18th day of October 2018 at 7 p.m. Town Supervisor Victoria Prodi, having called the meeting to order. And is there a motion?
Make that motion.
And a second?
My second.
Whereas the town of Amenia is the owner of the Old Amenia landfill located on Route 22 in the town, which was originally listed by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation on the Register of Inactive Hazardous Waste Sites. Whereas on January 19, 2007, the town of Amenia, together with the town of Sharon, Connecticut, and several non-municipal parties, entered into an order of consent and administrative settlement with the New York State DEC to remediate the landfill. Whereas the parties to the consent order agreed upon and provided funding for the remediation of the site, which was performed by Amenia under the supervisor of the New York State DEC. Whereas on June 28, 2018, the New York State DEC issued a certificate of completion of remediation, downgrading the site's registry classification from a Class 2, an unremediated site posing a threat to human health and the environment, to a Class 4, a fully remediated site that continues to require post-remedial management. Whereas the post-remedial management contained in the site management plan issued by the New York State DEC requires yearly post-remedial operations, maintenance, and monitoring, OM&M. Whereas the SMP has two OM&M components: one, landscaping and site maintenance service; two, professional engineering service for the periodic sampling of the environmental media at the landfill, including interpretation and reporting of the results of the laboratory analytical data, and periodic inspections and reporting certifications to New York DEC. Whereas Sharon is required by the consent order to pay the annual OM&M cost. Whereas for the first 2-year period of OM&M beginning in 2016, Sharon performed all the landscaping and site maintenance services and will continue to do so with its municipal employees or contractors. Whereas for the first two-year period beginning in 2016, after soliciting and receiving bills pursuant to a request for proposals, the town awarded professional engineering contract to PVE LLC, whose Poughkeepsie office has performed the OM&M services to date, whereas the performance of PVE LLC of all OM&M requirements to date has been highly professional, responsive, and cost-effective, whereas PVE LLC has submitted a new proposal for services dated October 3, 2018 for the next 2 years of OM&M professional services, whereas the towns wish to renew the contract with PVE LLC for those professional engineering services. Whereas the town's Special Environmental Counsel, Westerveld and Ray, LLP, has reviewed the proposal and finds it to be in the interest of both the towns. Now therefore it is hereby resolved that the town board approves a professional engineering services contract between Amenia and PVE LLC in substantially the same form as the proposal annexed hereto. It is hereby further resolved that Supervisor Perotti is authorized to execute the contract with PVE LLC in a form to be approved by the town attorney.
Discussion.
Yes.
This monitoring obligation goes on for 4 years?
30.
30 years. Okay.
And there's no, I don't remember hearing or seeing what the actual cost is to Sharon. It just,
It's in the,
It's in the
it's in
contract.
the
sorry.
contract.
it's in the, oh, sorry. Okay, it's over here.
$43,000 basically.
Wow.
But that's for the 2-year contract, right?
Yeah, that's, it went up because the DEC increased their requirements for all landfills in New York State to test for fluorocarbons.
Okay. Oh, right, you told me about that. Okay.
And Sharon also is responsible for landscaping?
Yes,
That I had no idea.
They've been mowing.
that's part of the
Part of the
They've
agreement.
been doing.
plan, the management plan.
All done.
Supervisor Perotti,
Yes.
Councilman Doyle,
Yes.
Councilman Smoji,
Yes.
and Councilman Gutierrez.
Yes.
Okay, resolution to approve bid for Old Amenia landfill replacement monitoring well. During one of the storms, we had a tree fell on one of the monitoring wells on the Old Amenia landfill. The well had to be decommissioned and a new well has to be put in for the monitoring. And since we own the land, we're responsible for the wells. I checked with our insurance company to see if they might cover the costs. However, I was told when the wells were put in 2002, the wells were not added to our insurance policy. I have since put Byron Barnes in touch with PVE LLC and had the wells added to our insurance policy should anything happen, which I hope it doesn't. You just think you're done with Old Amenia landfill, and here it is again. Okay, and it's 72.
Yes.
Awarding bid for replacement of well located at Old Amenia landfill. Whereas a monitoring well located at Old Amenia landfill was destroyed by a tree falling on it and is in need of replacement. Whereas the town board authorized PVE LLC to solicit for written quotes from qualified contractors in accordance with the Town of Amenia procurement policy for the replacement of the destroyed well at Old Amenia landfill. Whereas PVE LLC received the following 3 written quotes. Parrot Wolf, East Syracuse, New York, $6,215. North Star Drilling, Homer, New York, $6,260. ADT, Mineola, New York, $11,850. Whereas PVE LLC has recommended awarding a contract to Parrot Wolf Incorporated, East Syracuse, New York, where it has been determined that the lowest responsible bid quote was from Parif Wolf, East Syracuse, New York, with a written quote in the amount of $6,215. Whereas this action is considered a Type 2 action for purposes of the State Environmental Quality Review Act pursuant to Section 617.5C2, the replacement, rehabilitation, or reconstruction of a structure or facility in kind on the same site, and pursuant to Section 17.5C18, information collection, including basic data collection and research, water quality and pollution studies, traffic counts, engineering studies, subsurface investigation, soil studies, that do not commit the agency to undertake, fund, or approve any Type 1 or a listed action. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Amenia hereby awards the bid for the replacement of destroyed well located at Old Amenia Landfill to Parrot Wolf Incorporated, East Syracuse, New York, in the bid of $6,215. And be it further resolved that the Town Board hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to execute any contract documents upon approval of the attorney to the town, and the contractor has supplied the necessary insurance certificates. Is there a motion?
I make the motion to awarding the bid for replacement of well located at Old Amenia Landfill.
Second.
I'll second.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Smoja.
Yes.
Resolution for transfer of funds. 72,
73.
3.
73. Whereas the Town Board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary or unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment to the general fund decreasing revenue line 2680.01 insurance recoveries by $5,079.19 and increasing revenue line 2555.01 building permits by $5,079.19 to cover shortfall on the insurance recoveries line. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund decreasing 65104.01.084 Veterans Services CE by $600 and increasing expense line 16604.01.074 Central Storm CE supplies by $600 for additional expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund decreasing expense line 14204.01 attorney CE by $400 and increasing expense line 14204.01.123 attorney CE codification by $400 for increased expenses for recording local laws. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund decreasing expense line 36204.01.48 safety inspection CE conferences by $670.50, decreasing 71451.1.0.0 summer rec program by $4,749.25, and decreasing line 73104.1122.1 youth program CE youth basketball by $1,590, and increasing line 16804.01 data processing CE by $7,009.75 to cover a new server expense, replacement building department laptop, and expenses through the end of the year for Bass and Konica Minolta. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund decreasing line 13304.01078 tax collector CE training by $700 and increased line 40201.01 registrar vital statistics by $700 for copies. Whereas budget amendment in the water fund by decreasing 83202.06 source power pump equipment by $5,000 and decreasing 83302.06 purification equipment by $1,000 and decreasing 83401.06 transmission distribution PS by $2,000 and increasing line 83404.06 transmission distribution CE by $8,000 for unanticipated repair expenses. Whereas budget amendment in the water fund decreasing line 83304.06117 purification CE laboratory, increasing line 83402.06 transmission distribution equipment by $200. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorize the transfer of necessary budget lines to process the transactions. And I make that motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Any questions?
Central storeroom supplies, 600 additional expenses.
Yes, what I've done in the new budget is that I've given all the departments their own supply line because it was hard to put that line in to know how much to actually have in central storeroom. I mean, so the building department and assessor's office, town clerk has her own line, so that we don't have to keep adding to the line as things get ordered. So what we did is we looked through all the supplies for the year and see which because we break them down by department, see what departments they came from, and we gave a suggested amount to the other departments on how much to put in their line.
We've gone back and forth with this. I think the last decision we had was to put it all back into one line, except for I guess the town clerk, but I don't know if you think that's the way that we can hold the line on supplies more.
So I mean everybody has to buy their own?
No, they just get allocated to their budget, so they have to estimate what they're going to need for the year.
Got it. Okay.
And it's just a better way of
Yep.
seeing who needs what and how much.
Agreed. And then second is Registrar of Vital Statistics increased by $700 for copies.
So that's $10 per transaction. And to date, we've reached a number of deaths, which has increased what we used last year. So what we did is we just took everything out of that line, from the tax collector line, because I'm not going to any more training, and just moved it over now. I mean, I
Because there's a
pray,
shortfall in the line.
yeah, pray we don't need it the
didn't
rest of the
budget
year, but yeah,
for
we
that.
didn't budget enough.
More people died than we expected. Okay.
Hold
I
on.
have a question about,
He's not done.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go
No, I'm
ahead.
done.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you said.
So you're going to zero out I assume, this youth basketball program by $1,590?
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah. So I guess I would respectfully suggest that I think the enhancement committee has leftover funds
There's other funds left over in the other recreation lines.
that you could do more appropriately.
Yeah.
I would suggest holding off on zeroing that out until we make a decision about whether or not to move forward with the basketball program, if there is another line that can absorb that hit.
I mean, we are,
Well, what
We're just moving.
what we can do is, if you don't want to do that line, we could just approve all the lines, and then instead of,
Is there nothing in contingency to take that?
contingency's been long gone. We had a lot of things we had to repair. Okay, let me just see what the total would be, and then we can approve it without that particular, for a lesser amount.
I just saw one. Connie Mack.
Still has 1,600. Connie Mack
I mean-
could take it with 1,600 in that line
You
if
can
they're all
keep your
done.
exact amount, just change it to a different line
That line,
for today.
Okay, so we can take it out of Connie Mack instead.
I think that would be, leave
Okay,
us that option.
1,600?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, keep your 1,590, keep it as you have stated,
Yeah,
just
the
change
exact
the line
amount.
number.
Okay, and then just take it out of Connie Mack instead.
Right.
So it would be youth program, Connie Mack.
CE, right.
And the number would be
73, or the whole thing? 73104.1.
95 instead of the 95.
instead
Okay.
of 122.
Yep. Okay, we're good.
So that's a motion, because you have a motion that's already out there. This is a motion to amend the resolution?
Yes.
To cover that. So you need a motion and a second to do that.
Okay, make a motion to approve the amended transfer of funds.
I'll second it.
So no vote on the first one, though.
Well, we never voted on it. It was up for
We never-
discussion. So we moved to amend that line. So we'll vote on the amendment to that line, and then we'll vote on the resolution as amended. So the motion was to change the money, the line the money was being transferred from. So
So
motion.
we'll vote on that first and then
Correct.
vote for the full transfer?
Correct.
Okay.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
This is the vote to
This
amend
is
the
just to
line.
change the
Yes.
line to,
Yes.
instead of 122 to 095. Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
And then the motion that was made by Prodi, seconded by Michelle, to complete the transfer of funds as,
The amended,
We need another roll?
Yeah.
yes.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes. Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi?
Now, I asked Scott to do the resolution for introduction of a local law to override tax cap. The budget is, looks like, if we're adding one position of registration or recreation supervisor registration, got registration on the brain. And we haven't really gone through the budget yet, but I want to have this in place in case we have to go over the 2% tax cap.
Do we have to do this now? How
Yes.
does the time line up?
Well, we need to introduce it now so that we can act on it timely if we need to act on it. We will not have to act on it the night of the public hearing, but we need to get the public hearing out of the way and close that, and then we could enact it at the next regular meeting after that in advance of you adopting a budget. Potentially, you could even do it the night you adopt the budget. It'd be preferable to do it before that, just to make sure there's no issues with filing with the Secretary of State. And then if you end up not going over the budget, we're required by the State Controller's Office to then repeal that
Yeah,
local law.
then we can rescind it.
I mean, what I'm getting at is we haven't, as a group, sat and gone through the budget yet, so we may or may not get here. And holding a public hearing prior to really having a good idea of where the budget is going to end up.
I mean, some towns adopt it in the middle of the year before they even introduce the budget, just so it's on the books to cover themselves. Most towns, and you are not alone this year in introducing this and potentially exceeding the tax cap. There are a number of towns that are introducing it and having the public hearing, and even before the preliminary. Usually you would introduce it before the preliminary budget is adopted. Most towns don't adopt the preliminary budget until, a little later in the month.
I got it.
All right?
Okay.
Is 74?
Yes.
It's just a fail-safe thing. Local law of the Town of Amenia, New York, to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2019 established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Whereas by this resolution, the Town Board introduces a proposed local law to be known as Local Law Number X of 2018 to override the limit on the real property taxes that may be levied by the Town of Amenia and to adopt a budget for the fiscal year 2019 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined by General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board schedules a public hearing on the proposed Local Law X of 2018 for November 1st, 2018 at 7 p.m. and directs the town clerk to provide notice thereof in the official newspaper of the town to post a notice of public hearing accordingly. And I make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
And this is a Resolution 75, I believe I'm up to.
Yes. Yes.
The town super has filed a tentative budget 2019 for the town of Amenia pursuant to Section 106 of the town law, whereas the town clerk delivered the tentative budget to the town board in accordance with town law Section 106. Whereas Town Law Section 108 requires the town to hold a public hearing on a preliminary budget on or before the Thursday immediately following general election, and to adopt a final budget by November 20th, 2018. Now therefore, be it resolved that the town board hereby establishes Thursday, November 8th, 2018 at 7 p.m. as a date and time for a special town board meeting and public hearing at Town Hall located at 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, for purposes of conducting a public hearing on the preliminary budget. Be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed and authorized to post and publish the notice of the public hearing. And I make that motion.
Second.
And that night of that public hearing, it's between our two regular meetings, and the only item on the agenda will be the public hearing. Because by statute, I have to have it no later than that date.
Okay.
Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
I don't know if I'll be able to attend that.
Okay.
I might be out of town. I have to check. Jim will be back by then?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just to present the preliminary. And that's to, follow the statute. Okay, other matters? I don't think I have any other matters. Do you have anything, Scott? No.
What was in the...
That's just your operating, the most current operating statement for your book, your budget book. Please bring your budget book Monday for the budget meeting. Public comment? Town board comments?
Yes. Couple of things. Scott, update on our draft ethics law.
Yeah, so we are just finalizing a revision to that. I talked to the supervisor earlier this week. I'll circulate that to the town board and to the chair of the ethics committee in advance of the next meeting, and then by that time, if we have any feedback and we're prepared to introduce it, we can do it then.
You're going to share it to the board and the ethics committee, or the chair of the
chair,
ethics?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, where's your office located? I'll come sit at your office and wait for it to...
Okay, I'll get it to you. I'll get it out. It'll be out by Monday to circulate, and then we'll have plenty of time. We'll have 2 weeks before the next meeting.
Okay.
Just about.
Just a heads up that Sin Patch Road is closed, as is 10 Mile River Station, Saturday and Sunday, October 20th and 21st. There will be buses. If you need train service, you'll have to get the bus at Wassaic or Dover Plain Station, and you will have to go the long way around to your house if you typically use that crossing. And the last thing is regarding the Felonzer, am I saying that right? Mm-hmm. They didn't put the bid out yet, right?
No.
So I spoke to Emily just to satisfy my own curiosity about the electrical service upgrade. And the generator that's spec'd is an 800-watt generator, and that was done in anticipation of future need here at the building. However, in just talking it through with her, the electrical service upgrade, which she's estimating to be about $70,000, is not actually required at this moment in time unless we have a near-term need for that load, which I'm not aware of such. So the other option would be so the cost of doing it the way that they were planning on bidding it out with the electrical service upgrade would be $70,000 plus a $2,000 step-down switch to the 800. If we did want to put that bit on hold, we could save that $72,000, and then we could just pay about $1,000 for a 600-watt switch, which would cover the current load of the building adequately using the existing
The transfer
generator.
switch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that $1,000 investment would be thrown away eventually when we needed to upgrade to 800 watts, and we did the upgrades to the building that needed a service upgrade, but we could get away with not
Delay.
having to pay that
Delay the
$70,000
pain.
immediately.
Okay.
So if that's okay, just let her know. I
I'll
told her.
call her tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, that was a great idea.
Well, I just
Very important.
that's it. That's all I have.
I was going to mention that, Veterans Day ceremony at Fountain Square, right in the center of town, at the intersection of 343, 22, and 44. At M&T Bank will be at 11 o'clock on Sunday, November 11th. And it's a very, always a lovely ceremony put on by the VFW. And the town helps with that as well. So do come to that. We did discuss, I did call HVA, the Houstonic Valley Association, and sent pictures of the weed whacking of the Phragmites that was done in the playground behind the town hall. And I sent it also to the CAC. It's our, the method that we recommended as a town, as opposed to putting on Roundup to, or a glyphosate-based herbicide with a more radical approach, and we'll see how that goes. And they saw the photos. We'll keep in touch about that. But I had remembered that on the quote from the professional who looked at that and that the playground, he had suggested mowing behind the fence as well to give us more of a buffer. And so I talked to Maria Grace at HVA, and she said, yes, in fact, mowing, extending the mowing that we're already doing behind the fence as you come up the drive, well, out the driveway or whatever, on the northern side of our driveway. Continue if you can, as far as you can, around the back of the thing will help keep the Phragmites at bay. If it's too wet back there, as everything is too wet anyway this year, but perhaps that could be weed whacked first to see if we can get that under control. So that was something I wanted to follow up, and then we can talk. I think Dave, or what's his name, Dave? Or
Doug.
Doug has done a fine job back there. Insurance, is that possible to get insurance to pay for the broken light in the Wassaic parking lot? Because Megan had, capped off the base of it. The whole light fixture is in fact broken off and gone. But
Is that the
it's
one that got
missing.
backed into?
Yeah. I just wonder if it's possible for Byron to take a look at that and see if that would be an insured thing.
Do you want to send him an email and ask him?
I can. I did take photos of that, so I can email him and say,
Yeah, give him the photos, and
here's
you
the
can go ahead
orange.
and do that.
Okay, I will do that. That's the end of my report.
I just have one thing, I don't think we mentioned it, but I'm just going to mention this. Wassaic Fire Department's doing bingo tomorrow night, 5:30. So all you bingo lovers, you know who you are.
What?
Come on down and enjoy it.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is that the Smithfield Church is having a tent sale on Saturday from 10 to 4.
Big weekend.
With Saturdays too.
So
too
there,
crowded.
if you're
much.
interested in seeing what they have for sale, it's to raise money for the renovations they've had to do at the church. So there's the book and bake sale at the library, and you can get your goodies and get your books and then head on up to Smithfield. Are there any other comments, town board comments? I make a motion to go into executive session.
Actually, it's going to be an attorney-client session.
Okay, attorney-client
Right,
session?
It's not an executive session matter. It's an attorney-client session. It's authorized pursuant to Public Officers Law, Section 108.
Okay.
3. Right?
Can the town clerk stay, or is it?
Well, she doesn't need to say.
It doesn't need to stay, and we're not going to take any action afterwards.
We're not taking any
Yeah.
action.
So we appoint, we
Right,
usually say
yes.
that.
So, yeah, we'll come back out and have to adjourn at that time.
She
Okay.
usually.
Right.
I don't know what that language was in other
I got
words.
that language.
Okay, so I'll just take it from there.
And Vicki Doyle is taking the minutes from there, here forward.
Second.
We're gonna adjourn.
Yeah, you're going to do exactly what you always do for me.
Okay,
The
okay.
time, who comes out of the session? Just
We're
like if
done.
you were doing executive
Yeah,
session.
who motion?